What's up, Shelf Addicts? Welcome back to the Shelf Addiction Podcast. Today on Book Chat, we are continuing our reread of the Mercy Thompson series. This episode, we are covering Book 10, Silence Fallen. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, I am your host, Tamara, and welcome back to the podcast. If you're new here, we're going to feed your shelf addiction with fun book conversations, bookish topics, and more. It's like listening in on your favorite book club. Participate in this discussion by joining the Facebook group Shelf Addiction Official or over on the Book Clubs app. I hope to hear your thoughts on today's show. You can also find me and Casey on Twitter and Instagram. The links for everything I've mentioned are below in the show notes. If you enjoyed today's episode, please support the podcast by sharing it with some book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe before you leave. That will really help me out, and I appreciate you for doing it. The uncut video version of this podcast is available right now over on Patreon. Join us there for exclusive videos, including after shows and more. So if you're interested in that at all, you'll need to come over onto Patreon and sign up. As always with Book Chats, we talk spoilers here, so you've been warned. Without further ado, let's begin. Joining me is feature co-host Casey from Heartful of Ink. Welcome back, Casey.
Hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, I'm happy you're here again, as always. Today, we are doing another installment of our reread of the Mercy Thompson series. And as we do, we are going to shell out the stats and the synopsis, and then we'll just get right to business. Today, we are reviewing Silence Fallen by Patricia Briggs, 10th in series, published March 7th, 2017 by Ace and Penguin Audio. The paperback is 319 pages. The audiobook is 11 hours and 13 minutes. Narrated by Lorelei King and George Newbern. Casey, would you please read the synopsis?
In the #1 New York Times best-selling Mercy Thompson novels, the coyote shapeshifter has found her voice in the werewolf pack. When Mercy's bond with the pack and her mate is broken, she'll learn what it truly means to be alone. Attacked and abducted in her home territory, Mercy finds herself in the clutches of the most powerful vampire in the world, taken as a weapon to use against the alpha werewolf Adam and the ruler of the Tri-City vampires. In coyote form, Mercy escapes only to find herself without money, without clothing, and alone in a foreign country. Unable to contact Adam through their mate bond, Mercy has allies to find and enemies to fight, and she needs to figure out which is which. Ancient powers stir, and Mercy must be her agile best to avoid causing a war between vampires and werewolves, and between werewolves and werewolves, and at the heart of the city of Prague, where old ghosts rise. That was a tongue twister.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, it was. So, okay, I like this one. I enjoyed this installment. I got some things that I remembered. And I'm like, oh yeah, these are some of the reasons why I enjoyed this book so much. How about you? When you finished, what'd you think?
I love this book. I love this series. It's so fun. Patricia Briggs is one of the best writers I have ever read, and I am currently teaching my clients how to write based off how Patricia Briggs does it. And this book. So I keep telling my clients, Patricia Briggs writes like the Fae. She tells you everything you need to know, but in such a way that you assume it means one thing when she really means something else. And she does that so beautifully in this book that I'm just in awe of her. And I want to tell everybody, read this book. If you want to learn how to write, read this book and study it.
Yes.
Study it, study it, study it. But also read it to love it because it's such a good book.
Yes. And if you haven't read it yet, I'm going to say just stop listening now and come back because we're going to do full spoilers and we're going to spoil the ending. So for you to experience it, you need not to know the ending.
Yes.
So
if you have not read this, stop right now. Go read the book. If you need to read Mercy 1 through 9, go read all the others and then come back.
Yes, because I think the twist that she did was so impeccable. And it's funny because knowing the ending, rereading this, I'm like, it's so obvious. It's so
obvious when you know what's coming. And that's why I say she writes like the Fae, because they tell you exactly what you want to hear. And you think every single step of the way that Matt Smith is just a submissive wolf.
Yeah.
But she's telling you over and over and over again. Mercy's like, oh, Bran, he just looks like a pizza boy, but nobody really knows who he is until he needs to be powerful.
Yeah. He blends. He blends well.
He blends well.
He knows how to play submissive. He knows how to just be in the background. And, you know, several specific actions that Matt Smith takes. I'm like, oh my God, that's obviously Bran. Like, obviously.
No, the very first time I read this, it did not occur to me that that was Bran. Like, I took it at face value because that's what Patricia Briggs wants you to do. And, you know, even when Adam got bit by the vampire and he's like pulling back his sleeve going, see, I'm not bit, even though there's 2 fang bites like right there. She's telling you, Adam is affected by magic. He can't see what's right in front of him because of magic. Because he's not like Mercy. And of course, you know, the instant Mercy sees Bran, she's half delirious, falling asleep, but she sees him and she goes, wait, is that Bran?
Or am I delirious? He's like, wait a minute. And then Adam goes, no, that's Matt Smith. Why would Bran be here? Like, okay. She's like, Matt Smith's the doctor. I'm like, girl. Well, you know, they know him, right? So obviously she would spot him, but like just things he would say. And, you know, thinking back, like you, the first time around, I did not know that was Bran. But now it's like he is really taking counsel by this Matt Smith. He is really listening to what Matt Smith tells him. And this is not someone in his pack.
It's not. He's just a submissive wolf. And, you know, we've seen a little submissive stuff. We've seen Zach in the other books try and, like, help do things around the pack and keep everybody calm. But here, you know, Matt Smith is talking and Adam's like, yes, that's right. You should do this. Yes, you're being very smart. Yes, I like what you're saying.
He's giving him intelligence, like,
like an equal.
Yes.
And Matt Smith takes Adam out of the room and calms him down and gives him power to fight the vampire bite. Yep. And Adam's like, oh yeah, no, this is just what a submissive does. Like,
I think he said like sometimes the author gave a plausible explanation for why that was possible, which, you know, true, they are not in the same pack anymore. So the author wasn't lying to us. They're not in the same pack.
They're not in the same pack.
But it's not quite the whole truth, just like the Fae. It's not quite, you know, it's the truth, but there's like
layers to it.
So I love that. I think that was the best part of the book. I really enjoyed that. I'm like, oh my God. And he's just around, chilling.
He's just there. He's just the co-pilot. They needed a co-pilot, so they got a co-pilot. Like, what?
Just grab some wolf, you know. No one else knew how to fly this plane. No one else but him.
Charles could have, but Bran forbade it because if Charles went, then shit would go sideways. But this Matt Smith is totally fine.
Right. But everyone knows Charles. He's like, he's got this person. Yeah, he's the boogeyman. So it's like you send your enforcer, everyone knows who that is. There's no way you can be incognito or anything, and it just would blow up the whole plan. So he was absolutely right not to send Charles, I think.
Absolutely, yes, because Charles, heads would have rolled. Charles would have killed some people because he kills some big bads in his books. So it would have turned out totally different.
When Adam's like, dude, give me a reason why I'm sitting here and not just murdering this guy and leaving. Everyone kind of talks to him, between Marsilia and Steph, and they kind of explain. But I know Charles would have been like, I don't know why we're sitting here either. Let's just do it.
Charles would be like, yeah, no, dead.
Yeah.
This is evil.
Right.
But when Matt Smith talks,
Yeah.
and the submissive werewolf tells him this is why you shouldn't do it, Adam listens and says, yes, you're the smartest one in the room.
Yes.
But of course,
which he is, but
there's the other werewolf pack in Prague, led by Libor. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yes, I think so. I said Sor. No, yes. Libor.
He and Bran have been fighting for centuries. And as soon as he takes one look at Matt Smith, he goes, really? Smith?
Like,
I've known you for a long time. Matt Smith just looks down at his feet. He's like, yeah, I know. Which, a submissive wolf would do.
Yes. But it was interesting also at the end, we discovered, we found out in this book that Libor and Bran had a long-standing problem with each other. And it was kind of interesting that he sent her there kind of for protection through Charles, right? Because they had this long-standing problem. And we find out what happens at the end. It's like, well, Bran, you kidnapped his son.
Who is a true
happens to be yes, and who happens to be Zach.
Yes, who is now
of all people
Adam and Mercy's pack.
Yes, and I know that Zach has an issue with Bran, but we don't know that yet.
Yeah.
That hasn't been disclosed. But just the thought,
Bran
you stole this man's child.
Him. So
he did say that. He's like, well, I kind of kidnapped him.
In the way only Bran can.
Yeah, it's I did him a favor by kidnapping him because
he was submissive.
It wouldn't have been a good spot.
And it wasn't good for him, so I brought him to America, where he just traveled as a lone wolf forever until he found you guys, and now he's tentatively staying, but keeps thinking about leaving.
Yeah, it's that quote unquote guest that keeps saying, oh, I'm leaving next week. Okay, 2 weeks. Okay, maybe a month. Okay, he keeps delaying his departure, and everyone just hopes he'll kind of forget that he was going to leave anyway.
Exactly. They want him there forever.
They want him there forever. They want Aiden there forever. It's really cute. This whole little fun
family.
Family. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I love that. What else? Oh, you know what? Again, what was that werewolf's name that the woman that was basically what's his face's prisoner, Bonorata's prisoner, or Jacob as he prefers to be called,
Lenka.
Lenka, that was insane. Okay, y'all, let's talk about that scene. So after they all come, they have to go meet Jacob in his office.
Do you want to talk?
You want to go back further?
I was gonna say there was a scene that made you laugh out loud.
Oh, okay. Do you know what it was?
I read it shortly after
we
went live on Tuesday. I was 2 pages away, so I kept reading.
So he steals Mercy. She's prisoner, and he sends a werewolf to kind of stalk around and watch that she doesn't leave, even though he left the door wide open. He left the door open. And, she's like, should I go? Should I stay? I don't, anyway, she runs out. She's running in coyote form, I should say.
Well, not at first. At first she's in human, then she jumps the wall, then she turns into a coyote. Then she runs and runs and keeps running while this werewolf follows.
Yes, and the werewolf is on her ass, literally. She sees this street. She makes a sharp right or left.
Right at that point.
Yes. And then the werewolf is right on her and gets smack hit by a bus. I'm like, oh my God, the werewolf got hit by a bus. It was the funniest thing to me.
That should have been our other indicator about the biggest plot twist, the second plot twist at the end of the book. Mercy's father, quote unquote, father, Coyote or Coyote,
Mm-hmm.
he kind of helped nudge this whole thing along, getting Mercy to prom.
He did.
He needed her to take care of some business that her brother didn't take care of 100 years ago. So, and, Mercy even says, my superpower is chaos. And, Coyote is nothing but chaos.
Facts.
And as soon as because I had forgotten that little plot twist at the end too. Like, it's so tiny, I forgot about it. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, I should have known. As soon as the bus hit the werewolf, who would ever do that?
Yeah.
Who would,
Coyote's driving the bus, probably.
Yeah, if Mercy turned around and looked, he would have waved out of the window.
Hey. Because he did kind of guide her to the bus that she got on, because he wanted her to end up in a specific place, because he had a task that her brother didn't take care of. So
yeah, no, he was, in the background also nudging things along. But as soon as that bus hit, as soon as I realized that Kaidi was part of it, I was like, that bus.
Oh, man.
The bus. I should have known.
I cracked up laughing. It was like comedy gold. Comedy gold. That damn bus. I could just visualize the whole thing. It was hilarious to me.
It is. It was absolutely hilarious. But it did not kill the werewolf, Lenka. She survived. No. She made it back home to Jacob, the evil vampire, lover, controller, abuser.
He's psycho. Yeah.
There's so many titles for him.
Yeah, so so the thing about him and her is that he drinks her blood.
He's addicted to it.
Yeah, like it's a drug. And I'm like, ew.
And she has been stuck under his control for centuries. And so she is broken. Yeah. She is not wolf. She is not human. She is just a shell of a thing.
Other. Like, to the point where, when Adam sees her and his wolf instantly says, oh, no. No.
Kill it dead.
You got to kill this thing.
That is
right?
Not a wolf. That is not a person. It is a thing that needs to die.
Yes. And of course, Adam can't just jump and kill her. But lucky him that, when Honey comes in, Bonarada, I keep calling him that, but I guess Jacob, he has so many names, but he prefers Jacob. He kind of is looking at her like, oh, and he's talking to her. And of course, when say the other wolf's name again, Lenka, when she comes in, gives him the papers, she notices what's happening and she goes, he's mine, mine. Okay. And then of course they have this little moment and Adam is looking, everyone's looking, and then old girl pulls out a knife and goes, and she tries to cut her. And then next thing you know, there's a tussle. It's a fight. I'm like, oh my God. And because it's her right to defend herself. That woman attacked Honey unprovoked. Yep. And so now they can fight it out. And so, of course, Adam is telling her, you need to kill her. That your friend is not there.
Kill it.
Because she knows her. And of course.
And during this moment, Adam kept noticing Matt Smith in the corner.
Matt Smith, yes. And he's nodding
He's nodding. He's, giving his approval of yes, kill this wolf. It's not a real thing anymore. And he growls at it.
Thing. Looking at Matt Smith to know what to do.
And Adam's head is just Matt Smith is, giving his approval because he's a submissive and he's listening to me. And it's really my idea all along. But he looked to Matt Smith no, you would not look at your submissive in this moment.
No, you don't need a cosign from a submissive wolf.
Not at all.
So anyway, Bran and him agree. And then Honey, she doesn't want to kill her. She's trying to see if there's another way. She's having the witch come look while she's holding her down because there's something on her, I think it was a
necklace.
It was something.
A bespelled necklace to make her more submissive.
And Lizavetta's nah, sorry, it's not going to do
It's
it.
weakening anyway.
It's so,
Like,
yeah. So she kills her. She kills her. It's like, damn, got to kill your friend, your old school friend.
which was sad,
Dang.
but also really empowering for Honey. And again, like looking at the arc of Honey's character specifically over the last 10 books, she has grown so much. She used to be the prissy woman who didn't want to get any iota of any sort of gunk on her whatsoever. But here she is wiping this bloody knife off on her pants. And I'm just like, damn, Honey.
I know. It's like, I think when her husband died, a lot of things about her changed. So
I think she truly loved Peter, but she made herself smaller for Peter. She made herself be the pretty wife. She made herself be the pretty woman. She made herself be content with being at the bottom of the pack. And again, like in this book, when Adam says, Honey, you're coming with me as like my number 2, Honey's surprised. She's like, it's not just Mercy who's just like messing things up. You actually see me as somebody powerful. And Adam's like, oh, hell yeah. You do kick butt. And she does. And so, yes, seeing her glow up, essentially, from the woman who refused to set foot in Mercy's garage. She sat out in her car for hours.
When she was on guard duty, she came in there with a white suit on. Girl, you're doing the absolute most. But now she is like one of Mercy's biggest supporters. She defends her constantly.
She kills other werewolves now and wipes blood off on her pants. Like, if that's not the biggest character change, I don't know who else has changed more. Like, I love Honey.
Nobody. I think she's grown leaps and bounds since the first book. Or we didn't even know her in the first book, I don't think. When did she appear?
I think it was book 2.
Yeah. But yeah, I love Honey. She's my favorite. Yes. She's my favorite of the pack. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
Behind Warren. Warren is like my ultimate favorite. Of course. But Honey is a close second.
Warren and Kyle. Like, they are the perfect couple ever. But Honey, yes. We stan a queen. We stan a queen.
Yes, we do. She's so great. And it's like, it's so interesting though, in that scene where she kills her. And then to kind of see that, whoa, Peter was with that woman. And, you know, Peter got around town, man.
Peter liked strong women, as Adam says. Peter liked strong women.
He likes alpha women for sure, and that was his thing. Like, oh man, he got a type. Peter got a type. Okay, but you know, too bad he's not around anymore. But
that's okay.
But without that catalyst, you know, Honey wouldn't be who she is now. So
we love Peter. We miss him.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what's next for her because, you know, even, you know, after Jacob was all giving her the eye and, you know, she left, changed her clothes. And when they went to move on to the next step of everything, she puts on like this big fat, you know, sweatshirt that smells like Matt Smith.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Adam. But Matt Smith.
But yeah, think about that for a minute.
There were so many clues. Patricia Briggs was telling us the entire freaking time that it was Bran. But you know, it's the cloak and dagger. It's the hidden messages. It's writing like the Fae. And again, this is why I teach my authors, like, study Patricia Briggs. Write this way because you want to tell your readers what is happening, but you don't want to say it out loud. You want to say it in a way where when they hit the end of the book, they're like, oh shit, what? Delirious Mercy thinks Bran is here? What do you mean?
What do you mean? Right. What? Huh? I missed that. How? Why?
How did I miss that? Oh, I didn't. I was just, you know, taking everything at surface level or assuming it this way. It's brilliant and I love it.
Oh, absolutely. And then so like that last little bit with Honey, you know, is wearing this getup, and Adam's like, look, I wouldn't have let him get near you or take
or touch you.
I wouldn't let that, or touch you. You could have a bikini on and I wouldn't have let that happen. And she's like, it doesn't even matter because I would have killed him, but we can't kill him. So I'm just going to stay hidden, So she is very strong woman. She's like, strong. Look, I would have killed him myself, but I can't. So I'm just going to stay hidden away, which is, I love that about her. No weakness. No weakness can be shown. None. Yeah.
Again, we stand a queen. I feel like that should be the subtitle of this book. Silence Fallen. We stand a queen.
Yes.
Because Mercy also, kicks ass in this book too.
She does. One of the things that I did appreciate about how Briggs decided to handle Mercy's kidnapping is like, she got a little busted up, in the actual kidnapping event. And then she got further busted up once Jacob's people had her. But the things that happened to her were like off the page, really. And when she was also in wolf form with Mary's people, they were trying to, but we didn't see it. I'm like, thank you for giving us that short respite because I feel like we've dealt with a lot with Mercy and we know, she was injured. Yes. We know bad guys are going to like rough somebody up. We didn't need to see a play-by-play. And it was very tactful how she did that, right? So we know because she talks about like her bruise on her face, and later Adam's like, "Hey, who hit you? What's going on there?"
Well, we did see that hit. That one, was right after she woke up, before she realized like she was out of America. Pretty vampire, and she was calling him thug vampire at the time, but it was Jacob. We're trying to like good cop, but to be fair.
I think Briggs showed that one because it was explained to us. That was before they knew that she was physically weak. They were like, we thought you were the strongest. And she is, but in a different way. They were expecting this physical powerhouse. So they thought they could just treat her, like they would another vampire, right? And that's not what it was. Yeah. So, I feel like that kind of gets a pass because they kind of explained it. Yeah.
We get that one hit, but all the other hits, like you said, I appreciate the fact that we came over them. We kind of don't need to know everything. We know Mercy. We know she's tough as balls. But also, we get so much from Adam's point of view. And I love that.
I love it.
Love it.
Yeah, I think that's like another one of my favorite top things about this book is because hearing from Adam is very important. Like it really adds another dimension to the story, and it like cosigns that he feels about her the way we think he feels about her.
Yes.
So,
because Adam,
chef's kiss.
It is Adam's privilege, as he keeps saying, to love Mercy, and he wants to protect her, and he wants to, wrap her up in bubble wrap and put her in a tower and never let her out. But he knows that would kill her. And so even though he has to fight that instinct, it's fighting both the wolf and the man who want to wrap her up.
Yes. Because I'm telling you, he, like, even at the end where they find Mercy and, they're waiting to get her out of the little thing or whatever. Like in that point, there was like this little thing he said to her, like when she pulled on the power to tell the golem to like disperse, basically, told all the ghosts to go away and destroyed him. She pulled on the pack power a little bit and she needed it one more time. And the second time he pushed all her power, his power to her. And then later she finds out that knocked him out for an hour. She was like, how dare you? You could have died. He's like, you could have died. What would I have done? So like it really just, even when they weren't together, you could tell like in the moments where he is expressing, oh, I just needed to pull on the pack, pull the chain to make sure she's still there. I just need to, all those little moments throughout the book. And then his little speeches at the end, it like really.
When he's like, my love, I would give you everything. My love, like I would burn the world for you.
I would burn the world. And even harder, I was diplomatic. It was even harder.
Poor Adam.
Because I'm sure it's easier to just burn the world than to, I'm like, oh, it's so sweet.
He wanted to go in there fangs first, claws first, to rip out all the vampires, but Matt Smith convinced him not to do that. So he didn't.
Like, this is the better route. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Why don't real men be like, why don't they show up like Adam does? Like, not that
I wish if there was one out there, if you are a man out there who is like Adam, please just come tell us that you exist. We just want to know that you exist.
I want to know who exists like that. Did Briggs completely make him up, or is he influenced, this character by someone else that she knows, or maybe a couple of people that she knows? Like, how do you make this character? And he's not perfect, right? He's got his flaws. He
absolutely has his flaws, which makes him so human and so much more lovable. Because when you're this perfect being, you're like a stone statue, and it's immovable and unlovable. But Adam, he is so flawed, but he is so perfect in his imperfections. Yes. He is the true romance hero of all time.
He is. And it's not about candles and flying you across the world. It's not all these elaborate, crazy, love bombing you with like presents. And it's not that crap you see in some typical romances, but it's different.
No, he loves her for her. Great. He supports her for her.
Yeah.
He knows that even though he wants to protect her, like, it is his privilege that he gets to love her. And in the last book, he said, it is my privilege that I get to feed her and house her and offer her all of this protection. It is my privilege.
Yeah, because she doesn't need it.
She can do it all for herself. But it is his privilege that he gets to provide for her.
That is such a nice thing to say.
It is the most romantic
no man says
thing
that.
to say.
No man said... oh my God. Okay, if you guys know a man that thinks this way, comment, let us know. Because I don't know not one man that would say something like that out their mouth. Not one. Of my whole family and everybody, I can't think of one man that would say that to their significant other.
No man, no woman, not anybody.
So, that's why it's so great, because it's not real. It's fantasy. On that note, let's take a break as I pick my jaw up off the ground from disappointment of this.
Let's hold our battered heart.
Let's just have a moment. Let's get our lives together while these commercials play. Okay, by listening to the commercials, you guys are supporting the podcast, so we do appreciate you for doing that. And don't forget to check out the book review journal available on Amazon, and we'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. All right, let's continue our talk. I feel happier now.
I know. It's hard living in reality, but thankfully we can read and reread and reread the series until the day we die.
I know. What I should do is go back and highlight all these cool passages in here from Adam. That's what I should have done.
Are you still doing your tabs? I forgot to ask you for like the last few books.
I've done a little bit, but my tabbing has become less because I feel like it was too much to remember what was where. So I feel like only things that are like super, super important to me, I'm starting to tab now. So I think my tabbing has
de-escalate.
Evolved.
Okay.
Yeah, it's de-escalated and evolved, but I'm definitely still doing it. So if I want to like flip back to something real quick, that I think when I look at the page, I'll know what I was looking at, right?
I might have to go in and tab some of Adam's things, like not to harp on Adam, but some of his passages just goddamn.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Like, Mercy, if you don't want him, I'll take him.
She would fight you for him. She would
fight me and win. So I don't Win. I would lose that fight, I'm sure.
I mean, we would all lose that fight because Adam would only want Mercy. And if you even harm a hair on her head.
Well, Mary Jo feels that. So Mary Jo lost.
Mary Jo, girl, you lost. It's over. It ain't happening.
Yeah. All right. So what else should we cover in this book? There's so much going on. There's so many little details.
I mean, we're in Europe for the first time. Mercy is in Europe for the first time. We are seeing, because again, Mercy's just been in her little tri-state area. Now that she has protected it, she's seeing that there's this whole huge world of vampires and fae and more vampires and werewolves out and about. And it's just mind-boggling almost how much has happened in Mercy's tiny corner of the world as compared to the rest of the world, but also shit's going down in the rest of the world. And Matt Smith seems to know some about everything, but doesn't.
Of course he does. He does. I'm sure he gets
newsletters and emails.
Yeah, he gets intel on a daily basis that comes in a box or something. Like he's the king of England.
Worse, he's the king of werewolves.
I know.
But yeah, no, it's just really interesting to see how massive this world is. And still, Mercy kept talking about how she is so powerful because she knows so many people. And there were so many people who would have gone to go save her. But they're like, those European fae. Z was like, I want to go save her, but those European fae will make a nuisance. And I don't have time to go kill all of them.
Yeah, and how Tad would be a distraction, and Aiden, he can't come because, they were still after him, and Hoel can't come because he can't control the Tibusana without Aiden. So, it's all these different, so
many moving pieces.
Bench. All y'all take a seat. This is the team we need. And he just he did put together a really good team, a team of random. So we have a witch, Elizaveta, of course. There is the seethe queen of Marsilia, and then Stefan, and then we have the troll king or
Goblin King.
Goblin King. There it is. Larry, who does not like the Goblin King title. He's just call me Larry.
Which was just hilarious because my grandpa's name was Lawrence and he went by Larry. And that was
my gosh.
King's name.
It is. And he actually thinks that Lawrence, aka Larry, makes him seem weak and stuff. He's like, and that's my name.
And then Austin Harris, who owns the Goblin, or who also flies, and then Matt Smith, who's just the co-pilot. Don't pay attention to the co-pilot.
Just a co-pilot.
Just a co-pilot.
And actually, when they landed, and all of the all the vampires kind of showed up to escort them. They're all there, and then all of a sudden, someone is staring at Matt Smith, and he almost didn't get noticed. And then they were like, "Wait a minute, that's a werewolf." Wait a minute. And they had to explain why he was there.
Are you Charles?
And relay it to Jacob.
Are you Charles Cornwick?
Right.
We need to know. He was like, nope, this is just Matt Smith, submissive vampire werewolf who flies airplane.
Yeah. Jacob was looking forward to a showdown with Charles. He wanted to see. Yeah. Which was another reason why he didn't come.
Oh, yeah. No, it would start a huge fight. That was unnecessary, but would have been fun to see.
I love Charles. He's so great.
Best. I mean, we stand a king, but that's his own series.
Yes, and now I feel like when we're done with these books, I might go read the others just for fun.
I have been reading them. I am all caught up. The next Alpha and Omega book I'm going to read next week during Thanksgiving break, and because that's chronologically the next book in the series.
I wish I had the time to do it your way, because I think I would have gotten more out of it reading them in chronological order, but I just didn't have the bandwidth to do it.
That's totally fine. And it's just something you can do in a few years. But, like,
Yeah.
they mention Jean Chastiel, the Beast, who everybody thinks Charles killed. He was an awful, awful werewolf. That was in the plot line of the second Alpha and Omega, called Hunting Grounds. So I know that whole backstory, and no, Charles did not kill the Beast, although they tried to blame him for it. But it's a really good story. Really good story.
Because I feel like those stories are a little bit more vague to me than the Mercy stories, because I know I've only read them once. I've not read them more than once.
I think this is the second or third time I'm reading these books. But yeah, no, they're really good, and it's all interwoven. Details pop up here and there. You know, at the last book in Fire Touch, they mention, oh yeah, Charles just had to go kill some fae. Well, that was book 4, which I just finished, and I can't think of the name. Dead Heat. That was Dead Heat. And, you know, Patricia Briggs is such an amazing world-building crafter, and every little tiny detail matters. And she will say something that just, you know, seems like a throwaway sentence, but no, she has a whole ass story for it.
It's wild. It's really wild how, like, these books are intertwined. I wonder if she has, like, a secret. I should have asked her at her last signing. Like, do you have, like, a secret room with, like, like, the whole wall is full of, like, characters and connections?
She should have to, because, oh my god, yes, it is insane.
Yeah.
Like, Ben. We saw Ben for a hot minute here when Mercy was emailing him on her stolen e-reader, which I thought was hilarious that everybody called it the stolen e-reader. But anyway, she was emailing Ben and talking about how, you know, he works for this IT company and they told him off. Well, Ben has a whole short story in Shifting Shadows, which is, you know, about his history, but also about him working in this IT company and his coworkers being like, you can't curse. So in here, you know, this little asterisk in the middle of his curse word.
He loves to curse.
I'm so happy that Mercy has, like, changed her view of Ben a lot more since the beginning. Like, it's still not quite 100% friends, but she has absolutely, like, opened up to him, and she doesn't harp on him anymore. And now she's kind of cursing the same way as him. She's saying mother humping.
Which is kind of adorable. I think it's all really cute. You know, Ben has been this kind of misunderstood character this whole time. And I think each book, Mercy learns a little bit more about him that gives her a little bit more perspective on him. And so she's slowly kind of letting go of some of the prejudices she had against him, like, you know, from rumors or
which is good.
Whatever.
Like, he did not deserve that. He kind of did, but he didn't really. Like, read Ben's story. If you haven't already, just everybody in general, if you haven't already, go read Ben's story. He's another favorite in the pack. He's not quite Warren level, but or Honey level, but, like, he's a favorite. Yeah,
definitely. You know, and that's like with all of these characters, none of their stories are black and white, right? Like, nothing is you're strictly good, you're strictly bad. You know, even Marsilia, like, in this book, we have known her to be, like, a awful person. But she comes to the table prepared to, like, help, actually be helpful.
And even Jacob, you know, he's not 100% evil. He's pretty damn evil. Like, not gonna lie, he's pretty damn evil. He's very manipulative. He had, like, 10 different plots going on at the same time, and they all turned out in his favor, so he's happy. And as soon as that ends, he's like, yeah, let me go with you. Let me help you find your mate. Like, it's fine. I'm fine. We're all good. We're all friends here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, let me get on the plane with you guys and just hang out with Stefan and her for a while. Like, what? Okay.
Just why not?
We're all on the same team now? We're the same team now. Got it. Okay.
For now.
For now. So there's, like, that going on. And then, of course, Elizaveta was very helpful, as she always is. But I felt a little something in this book about her.
A little tingle, a little foreshadowing. There's some foreshadowing happening, but mum's the word. We won't spoil anything till that book.
We won't, but there is some obvious foreshadowing. You know, you don't know what you don't know. But she's got like a lot of skills. Like we knew she had like a lot of abilities, but like she had a spell to kind of help Adam to communicate with Mercy. Who would have thought?
She said she had a whole big ass book on how to magic werewolves that had been passed down through generations through her family.
Yes.
And if that's not
take note of that,
a scary thought, we'll just leave it right there.
I mean, because like she can make all kinds of things too, even for the vampires. Like, you know, she's telling Jacob, you know, oh, for a price, I can help you with your little addiction. Oh, I can make a couple of these little sachets for you to like do what, you know, different, like you want to hang around and be awake during the day. Maybe I can help with that for a price.
And she's going to charge him a whole lot of money, which is good because he's a very rich, very old vampire, and you know he should pay out the nose for this.
Yes. And Adam's like, oh, you know, basically, or maybe it was Mercy's who said, you know, she's going to stay there for a while, make a shit ton of money, and he's going to try to steal her away. But we know she's not going nowhere. She loves Adam.
She does love Adam.
She hates Mercy already. We've seen already. She be shit talking Mercy. Like, okay, girl.
She never liked Mercy. Even back in book 1, when Mercy would ask for help, it was always
She like, no.
That's a future discussion that we'll, you know, put the lid on today.
Yeah. I think like another reason why I really enjoyed this book is because originally we were doing this round robin, like, oh, it's a werewolf problem, it's a vampire problem, it's a fae problem. But now like we're so far into this world, it's all kind of problems. It's like a supernatural problem.
Yes. And that is the after effect of the last book. And again, there's ripple effects for everything that reach out through several books. And I love Patricia Briggs for this. Again, I'm going to say that forever until the day I die. But, you know, this all started quote unquote, because Mercy said, we are now the protectors of the Tri-City area. It's a neutral zone. You know, the Fae can come in, the werewolves can come in, we'll protect everybody. And Jacob, evil vampire that he is like, oh, well, I'm curious about this. So let me come stick my nose in here and, you know, kidnap you and do all this nasty, evil shit. And then, you know, in his attempt to be diplomatic, he's like, well, what if I want to do this? Or what if the Fae start fighting? Because, you know, how can you possibly fight the Grey Lords? And Adam's just like, because they want me to. They wanted this more than I did.
Like they're kind of using me like a front, really. They really just...
They really are.
Yeah.
The whole thing is everybody's using everybody, and it's just a nice facade for the humans to believe.
Honestly, it's like as long as we have a mutual thing that we're getting out of this, we're going to be on the same team, right? We're going to work together.
Yes.
As long as we're both getting something out of it. You get a little something, I get a little something. And I guess Jacob didn't really understand. It's just not really the force of your strength pushing this along. It's not that at all. And he did not understand that.
Because I don't think he would ever want to have like a neutral, safe space. He's too powerful. He's too power hungry. He just wants people. He wants to be feared, and he wants to feed off of that fear. And so he doesn't understand why people would want to feel safe or feel safe in a place.
He just wants what he wants. And, you know, at first it was like kind of unclear, like, why was he doing this? We were trying to figure out why he was doing this, right? And at first it was like, well, he thought that Mercy belonged to Marsilia. So did he want this because he was trying to draw Marsilia? Did he want this because, you know, it was not clear what his actual motivation was. It took a bit to get to it.
And even then, it's like, okay, so he wanted Adam to kill Lenka. He wanted Adam or a werewolf to
kill
Guccio.
Yeah.
Guccio. He wanted to find out more about this. He has been talking to Wolf and learning about Mercy. And I feel like, if Mercy proved to be a super powerful being, he absolutely would have killed her. He had the plans to kill her. But Mercy is Mercy, and
she ran away before he could.
Yes.
She literally ran away.
Yes.
But he had a really in-depth plan. He really was trying to do 2-3 things at once with one stone, right? Yep. And he did get a lot of what he wanted done. He got it done just by placing a subtle bite somewhere. And old boy walking around in the daylight.
Oh yeah, no, he was a master planner, and since he has been around since the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, he's very smart.
Yeah.
Although Marsilia said, "You're kind of dumb now. Like you used to be smarter," and I'm kind of terrified of a much smarter Jacob because
and he didn't get Marsilia because I think for a minute he tried it. He tried
kept begging her to come back, and she said no, not for all the gold in the world, not if the oceans were jewels or whatever. However, she phrased it, she's like, nope.
And then after they had that conversation, and she's like, "Look, if you really meant it, we wouldn't have had an audience for this conversation."
Exactly.
Like, no,
it would have been private, or we could have kissed and then had makeup sex.
She like, no. And I mean, he wrecked Wolf. She's like, he is damaged now. I can't even.
Oh, yeah. Wolf was never this crazy.
Yeah.
Wolf was a sane, happy young man long before, Jacob ever came around. Wolf turned Jacob, and then Jacob made him crazy.
Yes. Isn't that wild?
That's so sad.
Yeah. So she had her reasons, and I'm glad she didn't flip or anything because, she's strong in her own right. She is getting better at thinking several steps ahead, I think.
I think so. I think she's finally waking up and finally coming back to the blade and the name that she had long before.
Yeah. This is probably, at the end of this, okay, so we're going to read through book 13 this year. Yes. We'll be done this year. I would love to rank them in our final discussion. It's going to be hard.
That's going to be so
hard. But
I
feel like it would be a fun activity to do. And you have to think about it beforehand because you got to know how you're going to rank it.
I'm going to have to hold all of my books together and move them around and then curse your name and be like, God damn it. Why?
Yes. That's me being Jacob there. There you go. I mean, because I know, I have several books that are at the top. This is one of my top ones. I can think of about 4 books that are really at the top of my list.
All of them are at the top of my list. God damn it. I'm trying to think.
You'll know once you look at the covers and the back of. You don't even have to read it. You can probably just read the synopsis and know this is it.
But okay, so River Marked. It wasn't the best book, but I really enjoyed it and I liked it and it has its space. And it's not top, but it's good. And I don't want to
look. Everything cannot be the winner. That's just life.
I know, but life. This is Mercy and Adam.
Honestly, River Mark will be even though there was a lot of good stuff that came out of that, we learned a lot in River Mark. That will be toward the bottom of mine.
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm saying. All of these books have their place. They're all good for a reason. True. But if we have to go by what's your favorite story within the story, what's your favorite,
This would be so much easier with the Alpha and Omega series because I'm already ranking that one. I'm Hunting Ground, Cry Wolf, Fair Game, maybe Up and Down one.
There's a lot less books.
Yeah, there's a lot less. Yeah. But love Anna and Charles, but no.
Anna and Charles are great, but they're not Mercy and Adam.
They're not.
No. Because, I will pick these books up again and again. And I have not had the inkling until now to pick back up Charles and Anna's books.
I mean, you learn a lot more about Bran in those books. and I've said this before, and I feel like this book particularly confirmed it. I feel like Bran loves Mercy as a daughter more than he loves Charles and Samuel. That's not to say he doesn't love his sons.
Yes.
But
he has a connection to her. And he even said that at the end of this book, like, from the moment I held you, you were mine, even though I could not take care of you. My living environment was too dangerous.
Leo would have murdered Mercy.
And then, of course, Mercy says, well, she almost did anyway. So there's that. He's like, look, I can't. I did what I could do, okay? But he's like basically telling her, and he does literally say, I love you to her.
Yeah.
And she's like, I know. And Adam's like, come on now. She's like, I love you too. He's like, come on. Don't leave him like that. Like, oh, see?
Yes. No, I feel like he loves her as much, if not more, than his sons. Like, yes, he turned into Beowulf for Samuel, but, you know.
I just think it's the daughter syndrome. You know, like, if you have a house full of boys, I think the dad is going to dote on the daughter. Like, you know, the little princess, my little girl, you know, she's special. She's...
Even though she tortured him.
Yes.
And we heard about the peanut butter scene again. We heard about the Easter Bunny, but we still don't know what that is yet.
Yes.
And several of her other antics against him.
I secretly think he likes that she can get one over on him.
Oh, yeah.
Because not many people
nobody
can.
Nobody else will do it. Yeah. Nobody else will do it. Not Charles, not Samuel. They'll sit around and talk with Dad, and they'll sing with Dad, and they'll have fun with Dad. Anna can.
Mm-hmm.
Anna looks him in the eye and says no a lot, which I love.
But that's direct. Mercy's like, I'll pay you back.
Yes.
Yeah. And she just does it. And I mean, her shenanigans have crossed the world back and forth, and everyone knows what she did.
Everybody knows. Everybody.
She's legend, right? She is a legend. Like, she did this to the Maroc, and she lives.
His precious daughter.
He loves her, and he will, you know, and she said this, well, you know, he abandoned me a couple of times, but he came. He came. Yeah.
He broke all of his rules. He hid. He met his enemies, more or less. And he did it for Mercy.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, because if Mercy wasn't involved, he would have been like, Adam, you got to figure this stuff out. It's not my situation. You figure it out. But
if Honey had been kidnapped, Adam would be right there trying to save her, but Matt Smith would not be the co-pilot.
He's like, nope, that's your business. In my business, they don't meet. But when it comes to Mercy, they do.
Yes.
So.
Absolutely, yes.
So good.
So good.
All right. I can just keep yapping, but it's time to go. It's time to go. So it's been a really fun conversation. I think we're done. Yeah?
I think we're done. Like you just said, we could keep yapping forever and find more things to say, but we'll leave it here.
Yes. All right, you guys, thanks so much for tuning in today. If you are still listening, please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button before you go so that you don't miss more of these episodes. We still have more books to come, so you don't want to miss out. And of course, don't forget to join us over on Shelf Addiction Official on Facebook or in the Book Club's app. And you can talk about these books and other books with us there, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care of yourselves.
Yay.
Bye,
Happy
guys.
reading, everybody. Bye.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction Official Facebook group, where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction Podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.